All right,
go ahead.
Your first headline. A rising British export is now women. A change in government policy ended men's ability to anonymously donate sperm and has led to dramatic drops in the amount of semen regularly used for artificial insemination. To deal with the situation, Great Britain girls now leave the country in search of quality genes. Government incentives for Brits to reproduce a retro style include such ambitious measures as to plainly quit being so ugly and dental hygiene.
Billionaire Bill Gates thinks sick people are more important than a sick planet. In a letter released late Sunday evening, Gates says he feels that donations to climate change conventions like Copenhagen, which usually slip into unofficial bicker banquets between international leaders, take too big of a chunk out of foreign aid. Gates wants to remind green-minded folks that if people are healthier, they traditionally have smaller families, which leads to less strain on the environment. He also called out Italy for cutting their aid by 50% and accused them of being stingy. Once France learned of this, they said, hey, that's our job, and cut their funding by 75%.
In a new tape, an individual claiming to be Osama bin Laden says the international terrorist organization known as Al-Qaeda is responsible for the attempted bombing on Christmas Day when Umar Abdul Muttalib was caught trying to ignite a bomb hidden in his underwear. The CIA responded by saying they don't believe it's actually Obama and that he should show himself and tell them exactly where he plans to do that so that they can be there.
If you want to get in on the next big economic bubble, then start looking in on fictional real estate. In an auction earlier this month, Buzz Eric Lightyear won ownership of a virtual space station in the game Planet Calypso. Mr. Lightyear paid a whopping $3.3 million in Project Entropia dollars, which is worth around 10 cents to the dollar in the real world, making the total cost of the spacious superstructure $330,000 American dollars. Because of its location in popular shopping areas, he is confident he will be able to earn back his original investment. However, since the U.S. government does not recognize Planet Calypso, he may have some trouble earning back his dignity.
Alaska, which is well known for leading America into the future, will be the first state to participate in the 2010 census. In Norvik, a town of 650 Eskimos, federal, state, and tribal officials will convene for a day-long celebration. Norvik and other disconnected villages around it have gone first since the 1990 census. They tell the villages they go first because muddy conditions in the spring make it too difficult for census workers to travel. In truth, the government officials simply don't trust them and will be performing a head count during the day-long celebration.
Lady Gaga has the number one song in the country this week. Avatar is still the number one movie for the 6th week in a row, and Stickbo is the top iPhone application. Now for our next topic, we are going to discuss something that one of our listeners requested, actually. And if you have anything that you'd like for us to discuss, any information you think we should know, any arguments you have against something we've said, please look us up on Facebook, become a fan, please, and write on our wall. You can follow us on Twitter or email us at informavoresradio@gmail.com. Now, this is a request to discuss the... Oh, hold on. I lost it. Just the John Edwards. Could somebody... I lost the thing.
If you guys remember John Edwards had to withdraw from the political arena because he got caught having an affair with Riley... I can't remember her last name. She was a...
Riley Hunters.
Thank you. She was a video editor for his campaign. And this news has come out now that he actually fathered a love child with her. And that's what they're calling it.
It just sounds...
They don't know what's going on with his family. And basically this whole story has just brought up a bunch of public anger about how politicians have these backdoor bad personality traits and how they can separate themselves. And one of our listeners asked that we talk about this.
Yes. Now, it's just about the questions about the separation between personal and public life that we judge our politicians on, and how whether or not they are legitimate, role models. Mm-hmm. Why are they so flawed? Why do you think they're so flawed?
I don't know. I'm a big fan of separation of the personal life and the public life, unless in a case like this where it exposes a huge character flaw.
Exactly.
I mean, having an affair with your photographer.
In what?
And his wife was terminally ill with cancer.
During treatment.
I mean, these are huge huge character flaws. And normally I don't like to judge. I like to judge people on their records. But when you have that personal life character flaw, it's just hard for me to.
In what situation though would it not be okay to separate? Like, what do you mean by separate when it's not a character flaw?
Well, I think when you're looking at who you should vote for, you shouldn't look at their personal life. You can a little bit, but I think you should judge them more on their public life, what they've done with their seat, whether it be a congressman or a governor. I just don't think that these personal issues should be brought into that unless they expose a character flaw, such as this case.
Okay, so in the cases of Senator Ensign recently, what else? Mark Sanford, all of these.
Yes. Yeah. Stuff like that brings about character flaws that make them not who they say they are. Everyone has their own little demons.
So you go into like Franklin Roosevelt and President Kennedy and people like that who had affairs and hid illnesses and did all kinds of things behind the scenes.
Yeah. Stuff that maybe not hiding the illness, I can understand that. But when it's a character flaw, like I know I keep saying that, but it's like it shows that they're not this person that they say they are. Edwards ran on this To America's platform where there's corporate America and then everybody else. But he's not like everybody else. Yep. He breaks the rules of the common society.
I was a huge fan of John Edwards, and then when I heard all this stuff about him, it just made me doubt him completely, and I have no faith in him at all. And we should take into account things like this. It makes a big impact on thinking like, well, if he does this in his personal life, could he do some backdoor stuff in his policies?
Right. Exactly. Okay. It's a scary trend that is happening.
I don't think it's new.
No, it's not.
No, I think it's only new that
it's coming out.
I think it's new that the press finds out and reports it, but I don't think it's anything new.
Let me give you another example of a character flaw from this exact case. He told one of his assistants to go down and fake a DNA test. That is a character flaw. When you're trying to deliberately lie, stuff like that should be used to judge that person's character. Or lack thereof.
So would you prefer, now I just have to go a little bit more in depth with this. So would you prefer that these people just not run for office? Would you have rather not had like President Roosevelt or President Kennedy or Clinton or any of those people?
That's a good point because they've all done very great things. Just, I don't know. I don't know that you can say not run for office. I think it's just you should think about these kind of things and what kind of person and what character they are when you vote for them. Because that plays a big part in what they'll do.
Do you think they serve as role models outside of
anymore? No.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I think they should though, because they're who lead us. They're our leaders. Why shouldn't they be? What's the word I'm looking for?
Exemplary.
Yes, exemplary. Yes.
They should just be amazing individuals. Mm-hmm. However, it tends to be true though that whenever someone is truly that great, they have some sort of personality flaw. Because there's a reason they're crazy enough to put themselves through what you go through to get into these situations. Because even when you get into great inventors, you get into great outside of politics, they're always there's something.
But does that excuse it though? Just because they're great politicians or a great inventor or a great painter or whatever, does that excuse their character flaw?
I don't see it. It's a topic that I'm very torn on. Yeah. I really don't know because I've gotten in several discussions about this because, like Franklin Roosevelt cheated on his wife all the time, but then Eleanor would not have gone off and done all the things for women's rights. She wouldn't have, if they wouldn't have had these personal flaws, they would never have achieved such great things.
But something should be said that no one is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes.
Very true.
And I think we should give some leniency to politicians.
It's impossible to expect them to be outstanding leaders and then outstanding individuals and just all around exemplary. It's impossible.
All right. Well, we're going to play a grand spot for you and we'll be right back for the last 10 minutes of our show.